We are live
Hi guys.
again.
Every day.
Not every day.
Very close.
We are live twice a week,
Maybe 3.
sometimes. But today, so on Monday we talked about procrastination. Today we are going to talk about
The loud car outside the house. I have no idea what they're listening to.
I don't know.
I don't think they do either at this point.
I don't think they can fully hear.
I don't think they even know what is being played in their car. That's why they put it up so loud.
And I don't think they can hear after they get out of their car.
Yeah. Okay, they're gone now. Anyways, go ahead.
Our topic for today is about obstacles.
Obstacles. What do you mean about obstacles?
Well, every time we want to progress in life, there is always something that tries to stop us. That's an obstacle. And sometimes you want to go around it, go under it, go over it. But that's not the way to get through it.
Exactly. I'm going to share just a brief story, and it's actually in the beginning of the book, The Obstacle is the Way. Skook! What's up, man? Listen to this. You're going to love it. So there's this book by Ryan Holiday called The Obstacle
is the Way.
And I've been trying to convince Mikal to listen to it or read it for a long time. She finally is, and she's so inspired. But in the beginning of the book, there's a story about a king. And the story goes, there's a small village, and the king wants to reward the villagers, but he doesn't know how. So there's only one way into the village, and the king decides to put an obstacle, a giant boulder, in that only direct path into the village.
Hey, Tony.
And as the king puts the obstacle there, the villagers are dumbfounded by why it's right there in the middle of the road. A lot of them just see this giant obstacle, this giant boulder in the middle of the road, and they get immediately discouraged, and they turn around and they go back home. And some of them try and give a half-hearted attempt, and they too turn around and go back home. And several days pass, and the villagers can't get out of the village because it's blocked. Well, someone from outside of the village is coming into the village and makes an attempt to come in. And he finds this obstacle standing in the way. And the king is off watching in secret as this man is trying to move this giant boulder. And he's trying with all his might. He's putting every ounce of energy he has into it. He keeps pursuing it, keeps going at it. And the king's like, man, this guy's not going to give up. And when this guy is at the end of his wits and his physical limitations, suddenly he has a brilliant idea. So he goes off into the woods. He takes a tree for leverage and drags it back with him, a giant tree trunk. And he uses that to give him the leverage necessary to remove the boulder from blocking the road. And underneath the boulder, the king had left a note with a bag. And the note says, within this bag is a treasure that would suffice for a lifetime. And you have earned this treasure by going through the obstacle. And that's really what the lesson is that we don't avoid the obstacles or try to find different ways around them. Oftentimes, the only way through something is directly through something.
You have to face the obstacle.
You must face it. You can't turn your back from it or find another way.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to go right through.
Yes,
persistence. There
is
you go.
key. So when we deal with online fitness, people that want to lose weight, people that want to get better in life, or it could be any other personal growth area in life.
Yeah. A lot of people reach out as far as mindset stuff or even discipleship to learn more about how to follow Christ with their whole hearts.
Yes, and nothing worth having comes easy. That's true. And the thing is, when you want to become better, at anything. Hey, Brandon, you have to face it head on. You cannot avoid the obstacle. The obstacle is what brings that personal growth. So if you are facing 300 pounds or 200 pounds of weight that you want to lose, you can't avoid it. Being able to avoid it will only make you weaker. It will not make you stronger.
It's just like having some sort of illness. Like, you can't avoid it and pretend it's not there. You have to face it and address it head on if you hope to heal from it.
Yeah. So the first thing to do when you find this obstacle, like for example, weight loss, or maybe it's an area of personal growth that you want to achieve. Maybe it's your mindset. Number one, are you looking at it with your perception or are you looking at it objectively? So with that story that he told, these people were looking at it with a different perspective.
Yes, it took an outsider outside of the village to come in and actually provide a new viewpoint and a new vantage point on how this obstacle could be met and eventually overcome. But the people who were inside the village, they didn't have that mindset. They were stuck in their current mindset and they were unable to look at this objectively and try to figure out a way around it. Instead, they were looking at it subjectively and seeing how it inhibited their lives and affected them
from progressing forward. So if you are facing an obstacle right now and you are seeing that, hey, you need to lose 100 pounds, 200 pounds, or 50 pounds even, and you are consistently wallowing in, well, I can't do this because I'm too weak. I can't do this because
or you've never done it.
You've never worked out before. That's looking at it in your perspective. But that's not looking at it in the right objective.
In the objective way, which is all things are attainable through Christ who strengthens us, and also with the proper guidance and the persistence to be able to get through it.
See, the people that were inside, they were looking at it with their emotion. When you look at things in that perspective, you tend to put more emotion into it than actually putting more of the right thought process. And when you look at things emotionally, things get skewed. Unlike the guy who was the outsider, because he wasn't with anyone else throwing out all the emotions, he thought of it objectively and thought, hey, I need to get that tree and it's going to help me with more leverage. So if you take yourself out of the emotion and you look at what you can utilize to fix the problem, the obstacle, you'll be able to get through it.
And I love what Skokie mentioned is that everyone wants this instant gratification. And the truth is, instant gratification leads to later remorse. Because the more we're gratified now in the moment, the more it costs us in the future. But if we can delay gratification, then the reward is in the future. And yeah, we might have some remorse right now in the moment, but we'll get over it and we will be compensated well above in the future.
Yeah. Take time that when things get frustrated, give yourself permission to say, it is frustrating. Acknowledge it. So it's not this self-help, talk yourself out of it deal. It is talk through it, but acknowledge how you're feeling if you are feeling a certain way, and then get through it and say, I can do this. Not the emotion of I can't, but tell yourself that, all right, I see it. It is going to be a challenge, but it will not stop me. So the next thing is control the controllables.
Yes, control the controllables. You have to look at what you can positively control. If there are things outside of your control, then they're not worth your mental space.
You can't. Hey, JD.
If they're not worth your mental space, if they're outside of your control.
Yeah.
Because there are tons of factors that you could worry about, but really they will not get you any closer until you start controlling those small things that you can control.
Right. So let's talk about health and fitness here. If there are things that you can control, for example, drinking a lot of soda. This is bubbly, no sugar, no nothing. But if I was drinking something with like super amount of sugar, like 40 grams of sugar every single day, but I don't want diabetes, well, here's a controllable that I can control. It's as simple as that.
Yep, starting with removing a can a day, and then removing the entire Coke in the future. But It's within your control and your grasp.
JD made a comment. I like to confront things head on. Some days I win, some days I fail. Any thoughts?
You only fail if you stop trying.
Ooh, did you hear that, JD?
So some days you
fail
win,
when you
and
stop
some
trying.
days you don't win. But it gives you an opportunity to try again.
Yeah, but notice he didn't say you're a loser.
And you're not a failure.
And you're not a failure. You only fail when you quit. Because you never moved on, you never moved forward. Because see, the thing is, when you see the obstacle and you say that you are a failure, you're never going to grow. But even failures are opportunities for growth. Because you can look back and say, for example, if that guy brought that tree and it didn't work the first time, maybe it wasn't the right size.
Yeah.
He can
Maybe
look at
you needed
it.
something else for leverage.
He can look at it and say, what could I do differently? So every single day, and I was talking to one of my nutrition clients today, every single day is a day for growth. Every day is a day to make every other opportunity better. So if last week was great, how can you make this week better?
And if it wasn't,
How can you make it
this week better?
So, guys, these are two key aspects here. Number one is change your perspective and make it objective, because you got to take out the emotion out of that obstacle, because you are giving it too much power.
And delay that gratification, because the obstacle is the way.
Is the way. And number two, control your controllables. Make it less daunting. Because if there's a simple thing that you can control, like my example earlier, if you're facing diabetes head on, what can you control? Is it a can of soda?
A day?
Remove it.
Yeah.
There are things in your control. Is it 20, 30 minutes of getting cardio?
Yeah. I mean, Mikala has a great example of a client that was on like 8 Mountain Dews a day. Now she's on how many now?
1 to 0.
1 to 0 a day.
Yeah.
And that was controllable.
And
By
we
the way,
didn't-
she's down 40 pounds. And now that giant obstacle
Is
doesn't
no
seem
longer
so big.
an obstacle.
Yep.
It's not like we did it cold turkey. We saw the obstacle, we took out the perspective, the emotion, and we looked at it objectively and said, what can we do? We strategized.
And she had wins, and sometimes she
had-
didn't.
Yeah.
And then she just failed forward.
Yeah. And we just continued to move up until finally it does not control her. Who's in control? She is. And you can too. So guys, today it's about obstacles. But obstacles don't define you. Obstacles do not bring that, it doesn't stop you.
No. But you can overcome it, and you will be better for it.
Yeah. So if you are listening to us and you are one of those that know that you want to start taking control of your health and you want to move that obstacle, maybe it's the ability to say, hey, you know what? I need to be better at my time so that I can control my weight, so that I can control my health and fitness journey now. Maybe it's my schedule. Maybe that's an obstacle. Maybe it's your mindset.
That is the obstacle.
That is the obstacle. Reach out to us, because only when you are willing to accept help, then we can get you to where you want to be.
And guys, it's really that simple. It's not easy, but it is simple. And all it takes is taking the steps towards discomfort in order to really reach the potential that God's called you for.
Yeah. It's not like the people that were within the gate that turned around and went back home. It's that guy who decided to take action.
Health as well.
If you stay in a position, you never see results. You have to take action. So today, take action today. Reach out to us and contact us, comment us, or comment below or message us to join our online fitness program today.
And start facing your obstacles now.
So at Iron Sharpens Iron, we like to say, make moves.
Not excuses.